This documentary will explore whether conventional or green cars are more sustainable for the environment by viewing and comparing both sides of the issue.
The Australian Passenger Transport Line graph demonstrates the years and kilometres travelled by passengers, respectively, on the x and y axes. The steady incline of the graph illustrates the increase in passengers using cars as transport. Australians and Americans tend to both have driving cars as their number one option, and public transport being the second. This pie chart with individually coloured slots indicates various green cars bought by Australian consumers, and a bar graph illustrating the brand of hybrid cars' percentage of buys respectively on the x and y axes, both showing the prices of Toyota and of the Prius, being the favourable one, with its fuel cost savings and cheaper insurance.
The first photochemical model study shows that motor vehicles contribute 51% of nitrogen oxide and 44% of hydrocarbon emissions into the atmosphere, which produce ozone. Now this at a ground level is a pollutant. So, 1 litre of petrol equals 2.3 kilograms of carbon dioxide. In 1999, Honda produced the first mass-produced hybrid car inside. The revolutionising transport integrated motor assist technology, which is the use of an electric motor engine amongst a combustion engine. In 1999, Honda produced the first mass-produced hybrid car inside. The revolutionising transport integrated motor assist technology, which is the use of an electric motor engine amongst a combustion engine. In 2000, Toyota produced its first and most popular hybrid car, the Prius. From then, the production of hybrid cars and the use of alternative energy in transport continues. In 2000, Toyota produced its first and most popular hybrid car, the Prius. From then, the production of hybrid cars and the use of alternative energy in transport continues. Electrics, hybrids, and eco-friendly transport in general contribute greatly in making the Earth a greener place. They do this by reducing carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide levels. This therefore improves the air quality and reduces the amount of acid rain. Green cars can often save the owner over 70% of the cost of fuel that non-green powered vehicles have. If the vehicle is a hydrogen fuel cell powered vehicle, the cost is even greater. In this case, green powered vehicles can save the owner up to 98% of the cost of a similar sized non-green vehicle car would have. Most hybrids are made from sustainable materials, and the interior is made from recyclable materials. Manufacturers use their plastic composite mix to make their hybrids.
The CO2 emissions on y-axis and velocity on x. The line graph with its various colours demonstrates the different fuel cells it shows at speeds more suited to urban traffic dynamics. The hybrids are sustainable with minimum CO2, hence not ecological in rural areas. Electricity being sourced from coal in both Australia and the US is almost 49%, alluding that green cars are indirectly consuming fossil fuel.
Electric cars, unfortunately, are not the way of the future at the moment, mainly because of the high costs which are associated to actually producing them. People think that they're made on the same platform as a normal car, but that's not actually true. Cars like the Holden Volt, which is based off the Chevrolet Volt, or cars like the Prius or the Nissan Leaf are actually made in dedicated separate production lines. What that means is that you're creating a whole new factory and putting out that much more pollution just to create a car which isn't that much more efficient. Every few years the battery in an electric car needs to be replaced. This is mainly due to wear and tear. Now, all this changing of battery means increase in battery production. This means that there is an increase in emissions of carbon dioxide into our atmosphere. Research suggests that as much as 12.6 tons is released compared to 5.6 tons of a very similar sized average combustion engine car of today. To make a net saving of carbon dioxide, hybrids must be driven 129,000 kilometers, but it has to be charged every 145 kilometers. This means they can only be used in urban environments. Many electric cars don't even have a lifespan of that. In conclusion, green cars are probably not the way to go right now, mainly because they're not commercially viable on a large scale. Today we should be looking, as you and me as individuals, we should be looking at other alternatives which do help the environment and help our economy at the same time. Things like public transport, carpooling, and walking to work. Things like that. We should also...
In the beginning of this research, I started off with the idea that green cars are the ultimate tree huggers on road. Don't get me wrong, you break down a green car and it is incredible. Really low carbon dioxide emissions, mostly recyclable components used, minimum noise pollution. But as a whole, it's not a solution. Almost 49% of electricity comes from coal. While the green cars are charging, indirectly they are consuming fossil fuel. Rather than the emissions affecting the urban landscape, it takes its charge in the rural areas. Through knowing the great initial cost expenses of the car and comparing it with later on road cost efficiency, the green car does not pay off. The emissions from manufacturing electric cars are at least 50% higher. Through all these factors, the on-road net savings in emissions of a green car and the fuel economy is not worth paying the extra money to reduce your carbon footprint.